off, I want to say I'm very obliged to share time with you guys, and thank you for coming and participating with me. I really appreciate that. And before I tell you guys about Stocks and Robbers and about me, I actually want to ask you guys some questions, okay? So first off, I want to ask you guys, do you guys know anything about the stock market?
Very little.
Very little?
Yeah, very little.
Have you guys never invested in the stock market?
No.
I got a Robinhood account, but I don't be knowing what I'm doing.
That's awesome. You gotta start somewhere, you know? You gotta start somewhere, you know? My last question for you guys, any one of y'all graduate from college, you know?
No, not yet.
That's okay. So I guess we all similar, right? So me, I didn't graduate from college. Now the reason why I asked you guys these questions is I wanted to let you guys know that you don't have to be the smartest person in the world to invest in the stock market. You know, actually a lot of the most successful investors aren't the smartest, and that's because they don't use their emotions to invest. So what Stocks and Robbers is basically we are the key to your financial freedom. We are the orators. We are the ones who want to give you the intangibles so you can be successful in the stock market, okay? We want to provide you guys with financial literacy, financial education, and ultimately creating generational wealth for your future generations. Because at the end of the day, we, as a collective, as anybody who's in this room listening, we are, you know, we're not on the top of the scale. If it was a pyramid, you got the top 1%, you got the middle class, you got the lower class. Why are we not a part of the top 1%? Because we don't invest in assets, okay? So what Stocks and Robbers is, it is the turnpike. It is the fork in the road that's gonna separate you from the average people, from the mediocre people, okay? Because what we're doing here is we're setting up people to take off financially, to have motivation, and just to be consistent. And not only is Stocks and Robbers about financial freedom, but it's about excelling in any way possible. So I'm not the person to say just invest in the stock market. I'm not the person to say the stock market is the best thing to invest in. I believe as long as you're investing in something, whether it be your own business, whether it be gold and silver, oil, real estate, bonds, you know what I mean? I don't care what it is, but we have to invest, all right? So let's get started. That was a nice introduction right there. A really nice introduction.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start off with what are stocks, okay? So first, this is so key right here. What are stocks? Now, what we have to do is we have to backtrack, okay? We need to go back and we need to recalibrate our thoughts, because the stock market is not a casino. Now you can treat it like a casino, but really what stocks are is they are businesses. So once we rewire our minds and we recalibrate our minds to say that stocks are businesses and they're not just stocks, something you just buy to sell, you will approach the stock market differently, okay? So what do I mean by this businesses? So wise words that I heard from a wise man is that business is the activity of life. So what that means is, right now we're standing inside of a business, right? Everybody who goes to work 9 to 5, they're working for a business, right? Business is the activity of life. So what happens is, when we give our money away, who are we giving our money away to?
Business owners?
Businesses. Like there's no one else.
Government.
There's no one else. So what the stock market allows you to do is, it allows you to stop giving your money to these businesses so they make all the profit, and it allows you to become an owner, an equity. So not only is you investing in America or whatever country you want to invest in, which is an awesome thing because you're actually being productive. An investor is a productive person. So not only is you doing that, but you're gaining equity in the company, which is allowing you to make money without having to work hard for it, right? So we need to separate ourselves. Hey, how you doing? We need to separate ourselves from the verbiage of just stocks, because it's not a stock, it's a business that you own, okay? So for example, I own Apple, okay? I own Tesla, okay? I don't own physical real estate, but I own real estate companies, right? So what that does is I still get to receive the dividends from people who pay mortgages, people who pay for their commercial real estate, their offices, I still receive dividends, but I don't even own the building, you know? And not only that, but it's people with better experience than me who is in the real estate sector, professionals who actually know about, let's say, arbitrage and, you know, the ins and outs of construction and stuff like that. I don't know all that stuff, but since I own, it's called a REIT, since I own that allows me to get the equity and gain all the benefits without even having to exert my mind all the way to gain that, right? So a stock is basically, it's a piece of a pie, and the pie is a company. So when you buy a stock, you're essentially buying a piece of a company, okay? You can do whatever you want with that piece of the pie. You can save it for somebody else. You can sell that pie. You can buy more pie if you want to buy it, okay? But what a stock is a piece of a pie, and it allows you to gain equity and be in control of your financial future over time. So why should I invest, okay? Now, let's put it like this. So time is money, okay? What's the only thing you're not going to get in life more of? Time. You get a finite amount of time. And what you do with your time is pretty much really up to you, you know what I mean? So time is money, and you're not getting no more time. So you need to be doing everything possible with the time that you have to be making sure that you maximize and be the most productive that you can, okay? So what do I mean by this? So what makes the stock market so beautiful? It's beautiful because how many jobs can you work physically?
I work 2.
I could do 3, but I ain't gonna go that far.
That's man, we got a hard worker right there. 3 jobs. So let's say the maximum you can work is about 3 jobs. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Let's say maximum is 3 jobs. How many jobs can your money work for you?
A lot.
Infinite.
There you go.
Infinite amount of jobs. So as long as you're working hard for money, you're always gonna work hard for money. But if your money is working hard for you, then you're going to be able to retire a lot faster. You know what I mean? So time is money, okay? And that's what I mean by that. You have to make your money work for you in order to get your time back, right? So on top of that, cash is goofy. Now why do I say this, okay? Cash is goofy because let's look at our favorite idols, okay? Let's look at our favorite entertainers. What do they always put in our face, right? Money, right? Cash, diamonds, which are really worthless, right? Cars, you know, things that depreciate over time, you know. We're so blind to the fact that diamonds, they're really worthless, you know. I forgot who was the, I don't know if he was a propaganda artist or whatnot, but that's all propaganda. Whatever, it was advertisement that made diamonds so. Diamonds are a woman's best friend. That slogan right there.
That's Madonna.
That's Madonna?
In the 80s.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
But no, it's true.
Yeah, so that's why diamonds are so expensive, but we're blinded by that, okay? What's really going to take us to the next level is buying assets. Like I said, whether it's gold, silver, oil, stocks, real estate, it doesn't matter. But if you're not investing your money into something that's going to provide a return for you, then you're ultimately losing out, okay? Because like I said, you're giving money to these businesses, but you're not getting nothing in return. So that's why cash is goofy. Now, cash is not always goofy, okay? Because if you don't have cash, then how are you going to buy these assets that are out here? Let's say during a recession. Assets depreciate about, let's say, 50% during a depression, you know, 20% during a recession. That's a great opportunity to buy. But if you don't have no cash, then you're missing out on the opportunity, okay? So cash loses value every day. So during the pandemic, the Federal Reserve printed about 40 to 60% of the monetary supply, which is the most that has ever been printed in ever at one time. And what ultimately happens is it creates inflation. So what happens is the value of the dollar drops significantly because if you have something and you're providing more supply of it, then you're decreasing the value of it. And they do this, they say it's to, you know, be inflationary and stuff like that, but really it's a scheme just to get the money out of the poor person's hands and get into the rich person's hands, okay? Because it's all, like I said, time is money, and it's all about capitalism, especially here in America, but just worldwide, period. So it's always about getting the money out of the poor person's hands and getting it into the rich person's hands. That's what inflation is. That's what taxes is. Taxes is inflation is a hidden tax. Okay, so when inflation is at 9%, when inflation is at 7%, when inflation period, inflation is the measure of basically the average of how much you have to pay to live. So if inflation is at 2%, you're basically paying 2% more to live than what you should be paying. Okay, now that's horrible. Inflation is horrible. It's horrible, and it takes away from, like I said, it takes away from the poor people and it gives to the rich people, because who benefits from inflation? The businesses. The businesses, they get to raise their prices. Starbucks, they raise their coffee like almost every year, if I'm not mistaken. You know what I mean? And they don't bring it down, you know? So imagine owning Starbucks and year by year by year, they're going to continue to increase the price of their coffee. That means they're going to continue to increase their profit margins, okay?
Be right with the ass.
And the last point on this slide is the only thing that separates you from the wealthy is investing, okay? So what do I mean by that? Success leaves a trail, right? If you look at anybody who you want to be like, it's always a trail, okay? You can always follow what they do, and you can always see what they do. Well, I follow the businessmen, I follow the entrepreneurs, okay? And what they like to do is they like to invest. And they like to invest more than they spend. And they also like to invest more than they save. So for example, this is a question for you guys. How much do you guys think is a safe amount to have in cash, like in the bank or in cash? Like,
I'll put $100 in the
cash.
bank.
So, the bank.
When you say safe, what do you
Oh, the FDIC insures up to like what was it,
10,000?
25,000?
FDIC insurance, 250,000.
I was way off.
It's for one bank. Okay, so you can have in one bank you can have up to $250,000 if they're FDIC insured. But you can be banked with several different banks. So you can have that same policy with like 4 different banks. That's $1 million of FDIC insurance. The stock market gives you SIPC insurance, and that's $250,000 that goes in your brokerage, your buying power, which is like, how your bank got a savings account. So it's $250,000 that can go into your brokerage account, and then there's $250,000 that can go into stocks. So that's a $500,000 equity portfolio that you have covered. If you put $250,000 in stocks and $250,000 in the savings part of your portfolio, like just like the cash part. It's called your buying power, or in other words, your dry powder. Okay. And like I said, the only thing that separates you from the wealthy is investing. It's the only thing. It's nothing else. And your network. Just investing in your network. That's the only thing that separates people from the wealthy. And your mindset. Your mindset, that's really the most pivotal thing, because if you're not wealthy in your mind, then you're never going to be wealthy, in reality. Well, thank you. In reality or on paper. So how do I invest, okay? So I'm going to ask you guys, if you guys wanted to invest, there's no wrong answer for this. What would your first step be?
save some money so I can invest.
Yeah, put money to the side.
Put some money to the side.
I like my company's 401k and other options that they have. They have CDs and IRAs.
Awesome. So that would be your first step. So let me say, what would be my first step if I wanted to invest? Well, let's say if I wanted to be a barber, okay, how would I invest? I would buy some clippers, right? And it don't always gotta be about money. I would watch YouTube and learn how to cut hair through YouTube. So how do I invest? It's just about putting energy, okay? Money is a form of energy. It's about putting energy behind whatever it is you're trying to study, right? So, or build a skill at, excuse me. So how do you invest? That's a broad way, because the best investment is in yourself. It's not in the stock market, it's not in real estate, it's in yourself. Because if I can't learn how to manipulate the stock market and milk it, then what am I even sitting there trying to comprehend it for? If I'm not trying to be the best barber and make the most money out of being a barber, what am I trying to comprehend the skill for? Okay, so you have to study whatever it is, whatever skill or whatever it is. But how do you invest in the stock market? You get you a brokerage account, okay? You get you a Robinhood, a Vanguard, Fidelity, TD Ameritrade, Webull. There's plenty of different sources you can invest from. And then after that, you can be 18 or older to legally invest, okay? Or if you're a minor, you can have your parent invest for you, okay? So that would be a very good option to have your parent invest for you. But when you get to the age of 18, that's an ample amount of time to invest and become a very wealthy person. Ample amount of time. Really, any age, it don't matter. That's how wonderful the stock market is. So when should I start investing? Can I ask you guys, what would you say? When should you guys start investing? When would it be the best time?
Now.
Right, as soon as you can.
Awesome.
First one.
Right now, okay? Why? Because I'm going to say it again. Time is money, okay? And you don't have a second to waste, okay? That business that you want to start, that garden that you want to start, that skill that you want to learn, you don't have next year to learn. The best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago. But when's the next best time? Today, okay? So plant them seeds, because right now is the best time to invest. You're losing time every day, okay? The younger you are, when you invest, the richer you'll be, okay? Point blank period. Because what happens is you have what's called compounding interest, okay? So compounding interest, it's just, actually, okay, here. Compounding interest, from the words of Albert Einstein, is the 8th wonder of the world, and it is one of the most powerful forces in the world, okay? And a beautiful way to get some compounding interest is to buy dividend stocks, okay? Dividend stocks, or ETFs. That's a wonderful way to gain compounding interest. The stock market is going to compound interest. The stock market gains that an annualized percentage of around 6 to 10%. Okay, so 6 to 10% yearly is that's great. Okay, you're not getting that from the bank. You're not getting that from the bank. Also, you want to buy stocks while they're red or while they're low, and you want to sell stocks while they're green. Okay, why do you want to do this? Because that's how you want to maximize or minimize. That's how you're gonna maximize your profits, and that's how you're gonna minimize your losses or your risk. Okay, because if you're buying high and you're selling low, you're playing the game all wrong. And that's how a lot of people play the game, because it's an emotional game. Money is very emotional, and I can tell you how to deal with your emotions, but it's really up to you how you execute, right? You know, because it's emotional, okay? And different people are going to do different things when hard times come, and it's just about, like, you might have a bill or something that's coming up, and you might just have to make a move, you know? So it's different strokes for different folks, and different people have different time horizons. But generally, you want to buy stocks when they're red or low, okay? And when they're red, that means they're down. So what does that mean when you buy them when they're red? That means that most likely, I ain't gonna tell you that, but most likely what comes after the red is the green, okay? And what comes after the green is the red. So if you're buying during the red times, during the low times, then most likely after that you're gonna get the green days or the up days. So that's, you wanna sell while they're green, you wanna buy while they're red, because that's when they're on discount. And when they're green, that's when they're on, that's when you should be selling. And it's counterintuitive. It's really and that's another thing. Like I said, it's emotional, and it's really counterintuitive. So the best time to sell a stock is when you don't want to. For example, so I recently just sold a car, really 2 cars, okay? And they have broke down on me, you know, and I sold them. I had to sell them for $1,000. 2 cars for $1,000. Now, how much do you think I would have sold them cars for if they were fully operational? You know what I mean? They would have been maximum value. You see what I'm saying? But since I waited for at the wrong time, I could only make $1,000 out of those cars. And I was lucky to even make that, you know, because they weren't running. You know what I mean? It's the same thing for the stock market. You want to sell when they're at maximum capacity, maximum price, okay? When they're in the best condition. But when my car is in the best condition, I don't want to sell it because it's running for me, you know what I mean? So that's why I say you want to sell when it feels horrible. Like, oh, you know what I mean? Like that's the perfect time to sell. Like when it's like, man, this has been doing so good for me. I can't even fathom selling this because it's been doing so wonderful. That's the best time to sell. The best time to buy is when it feels absolutely yucky. Like when you feel like you almost want to throw up. It's so disgusting because, let's say,
It's like buying a house.
it just makes you want to throw up because when you see something down so low and it's red, you know, and people on the news and they're sitting there telling you like, oh, this is never coming back around. Don't invest in this, because they will lie to you and say that because it's just it's like the shepherd and the cattle. I mean, the shepherd and the sheep. Okay, the shepherd is going to lead the sheep in whatever way, but the sheep don't have the mental capacity to make their own decisions. They're just following the shepherd. So the people on the news is the shepherd, okay, and they're just going to tell you anything that leads you really astray, so they can make all the money. Because, like I said, it's a capitalist game, and at the end of the day, their job is to take the money from the poor and give it to the rich, okay? Because it's all about ownership, and you know, slavery's been over, but we're still in what's called chattel slavery, economic slavery, mental slavery, okay? So it's really just we're just in a bad position, man. We got to get financially educated, okay? So lastly, finally, who am I investing for, okay? Who am I investing for?
My man's right.
First off, who am I investing for, okay? Yourself, right? The first law of nature is self-preservation, right? So you're always trying to maximize what you can do for yourself, but that's selfish, you know what I mean? So what comes after you get done taking care of yourself? It's just like almost, it ain't innate, but it's, you know, it's just a very positive thing to take care of others. Because after you built up a substantial amount of resources for yourself, that's what we've done since the beginning of time. Who are you supposed to take care of after you get done taking care of yourself? Your family, okay? So when you're investing, it's a lot of people, let's say my age, who still have to sit and beg their parents, you know, for money, you know, for rides and stuff like that. But if you learn how to invest at a decent age, you don't gotta ask your parents for none of that stuff, okay? So when you invest, you're taking care of yourself. Not only taking care of yourself, but you're taking care of your family, okay? And finally, you're investing for your future generations, okay? Like I said, Stocks and Robbers is what's going to provide you financial freedom. It's going to give you that financial solitude that you're looking for, that financial solace. But not only that, it's going to transform your family and take you to the gate of financial freedom and generational wealth. Okay, and it's such a wonderful thing, man. I really appreciate you guys for sharing your time with me. You know, I'm obliged to be here. And I'm really thankful, man. So, is there any questions that you guys have for me before we end this off?
Were you nervous up there?
Huh?
Were you nervous? You did amazing, because I would have been. I don't care if it's one person. You did a really good job.
Thank you so much. Man.
I think I might have to use you next year at Bus Run. I don't know.
Yeah.
That was a
definitely.
presentation.
He was there
Definitely.
too. The whole time.
Definitely. Is there any other questions? Don't be afraid to ask me no question, please.
So when it comes to investing, and I need to hurry up and so I can order my food. I'm hungry.
Me
But,
too.
when it comes to investing, like how much do you invest into certain? Because I probably missed that part.
Yes, ma'am. So as I asked earlier, I said, how much do you have in the savings account or in cash? So the good rule of thumb is to have about $2,000 in cash, like in cash, and maybe like $2,000 in the savings account. So that would protect you from like a month to 12 months worth of what you should have about 12 months worth of money in your savings account. That's to protect you from any emergency. Okay, now after you stack that up, you should take about 70% of all the money that you don't pay your bills with, that should get invested. And that last 30%, that should be used to yes, and for spending in whatever fund you want to have, okay? But we have a bad habit, and this is what takes from our financial freedom. We have a bad habit of spending first and investing after.
Yeah.
So if you invest first,
Wow, that one
let's say
hurt.
it's only $50. It's only $10. I don't care how much you invest. You have to start. If you invest that $10, that $50, that $100 before you get your nails done, before you get your hair done, this how you get your hair done first, and then it's time to invest. You're like, oh man, I don't got that money. You know, that's how you gonna feel.
Let me
You
put $5,
gonna-
$10 back while I just order
You know? You know what I mean? So that's how.
Better tell them the truth, Kyrie, because that hurt.
Yeah, I mean
That just
it's-
hurt me.
It's the same for me.
The way I
Yeah.
feel.
That's the
you know.
problem. People don't want. First of all, that takes a lot of discipline, and you got to be consistent.
That's like going to the gym.
And it's exactly, but it's also like people don't think about their future. They think about right now. I feel like we, especially like people of color, you're taught to survive. So why would I be putting $50, $100 that I could be using right now for something else into something that I may never see? You know what I'm saying? Like we're afraid to put our money into something that's not tangible. We don't. I can't see it. I don't feel the effect of it. That's some scary, especially when we don't have a lot of financial security to begin with. So I really feel like the fact that even us, because it makes me uncomfortable to talk about money, and I think the fact that it makes me uncomfortable to talk about it, or the fact that it's like I know I'm not using my money in the way I'm supposed to, all this other stuff, keeps us from actually doing right with our money. And so I think that's one of the reasons why it's important to have these conversations. The younger, the better. But we also got to be humble enough to be like, yeah, he right, you know, maybe I should, you know, or be cool with being down and like living below our means for a while until that stuff's hard. I'm telling you, that is so. Then throw in inflation. Can't even go to the grocery store
Interest
without
rates.
spending too much money.
Yeah.
Like it's. So that's my little 2 cents.
Yeah, I appreciate your insight on that.
Stuff.
And to add to that, it's also what was I finna add to that? Oh, and it's also we're so short term. We're so short term in thinking that we don't invest because we want things fast. You want it to happen right now. So when it comes to investing in the stock market and having to wait for your returns, then people just don't have patience, and that's where we ride. That's where we ride. Is there any other questions? Please don't be afraid to ask.
Y'all ask. I feel like water.
No, I don't.
No, that was really
Thank
good
you
though,
so much. I
Kyrie.
appreciate you.
it. And you did great with your